of the hotel lobby.
In the middle of the hotel lobby. Here we go. This is Tom Beal, and I'm sitting here with one of the foremost business strategists of today, Mr. Rich Schefren. I appreciate you spending some time with us, Rich.
My pleasure.
Awesome. Now, here we are in Baltimore, and Rich just got done giving a phenomenal presentation about basically some of the results that some of his clients have achieved from going from where they are currently in their business to reaching exponential levels of growth. And for some of the listeners that will see this video, just wondering if you might share some principles that you feel are holding back some companies from reaching the full potential that they may have.
Okay, sure. Well, I think for one, we went over a lot of stuff this morning, but I think the key takeaways, I think, are things that people hear all the time, but they don't really necessarily operate under. And one is focus. What you really need to do in your market is really have a point of difference. You have to be positioned in some way, shape, or form. And what we talked about is that there's just like a glut of information out there now. And so what people end up doing, and I do it, you do it, like we seek out the expert who's the specialist in whatever it is that we're seeking. And so you have to be that specialist in your marketplace. And the way you specialize is by doing less and by getting better and better and better at that one thing or two things or three things, but having a very tight focus. And so by doing that in your business, specializing, keeping your products you can have lots of different products, but nonetheless have them be, just completely in one area, right? So that people start to label you as, oh, he's that person or she's that person. That's the beginning, right? Like to get positioned the right way. And that doesn't happen unless you kind of know where you want to go, right? What you want to be known for, and then who you're competing with. So that was another thing that we talked about competitive intelligence. If you can think of like strategy as being what you want to do to the world, and competitive intelligence is what the world wants to do to you. It's what all your competitors are doing. And when I work with bigger companies, they spend a lot of time and money on competitive intelligence because they want to figure out where their opponents are weak, where they're strong. But most small companies don't do that. They kind of like operate their business like it's in a vacuum, like
reinventing the wheel.
Yeah, nobody else exists, and they're just going to do whatever it is they're going to do. And maybe it's the best thing to do, maybe it's not. And so it's really not a smart way of doing things.
The market will tell you, and your competitors will tell you,
Yeah.
because what they're doing, they probably wouldn't be spending all those dollars in advertising if it wasn't producing results.
Right. Yeah, and that's on a basic level. But when you really analyze the market, what you'll see is if you've ever played I'm sure you have, when you play football or something like that, there'll be pockets where there's opportunity, where you could throw the ball or where you could run. And it's the same thing. When you really analyze the market, you see pockets, you see areas that are uncontested that you can just take. And then you have other ones that are highly fought over, and those are probably just best to avoid. So
it's going to be a war zone.
Yeah, you're going to work really hard, and you're not going to make a lot of money, and that would be those are probably the places that most people end up because they haven't really done that kind of analysis. So, we talked about that as well because that's really vital, actually. And then, I'm trying to think, I know we talked about a lot more than that, but but I think that if people really just understood that, it's such
a master, not the someone who's mediocre at a lot of things, but a master in one thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like we keep moving more and more towards specialization. And we gave some examples, the legal profession used to just have a lawyer. Now you have a divorce lawyer, this lawyer, that lawyer, trademark lawyer, etc. Everybody over time gets more and more specialized, and that you have to, by not becoming more specialized, you end up becoming more of a generalist because we gave the example of there used to just be online marketing, and then that's it's kind of fractionalized out. There's all these different elements now, and there's different gurus of every different kind of thing, and that continues to happen. So when you command an area, if you just stay the same, then you get people kind of cut up your market underneath you, right? So you really have to eventually specialize, or you become a generalist. So there's specialize, become an expert, position yourself that way. You do that by focusing and having your core products all revolve around there. And then the other thing that we talked about, though, is that the internet's starting to speed up now, and that most internet gurus they're hiring staffs, they're building teams.
Most under your direction.
Yeah, I'd like to think I played a role in that. And and it's still a great time. And I think this was I think something that people really could understand, that you can't go to a seminar and on how to get involved in the infomercial business. But there were seminars like that a long time ago. You can't go to a seminar that talks about how to start your own car company.
Right. Compete with Chevy
right.
and Ford.
And it won't be 2 years from now or 5 years from now, but there will be a time when there won't be seminars anymore about getting involved in the internet business because it'll be commanded by major players, and it'll be much more difficult to get started. Pay-per-click costs will be very high, and everything will change.
The level of entry is raised much higher.
Yeah, and great copy will already be there, and so it's like it's now or never. You could either decide you're going to be an opportunist and you're going to make some money, just like the people in the infomercials and every other industry did, or you could take advantage of the fact that you have an advantage right now because you're here and other people aren't yet, and build a business before it's too late.
Which probably is still in the Wild Wild West terms, based on time frame. Because didn't you give an analogy a couple years ago about the automobile industry where there used to be like 50 or 60 competitors? Thousands of competitors. Similar to what it is now with internet marketing, you could just get into it.
Right.
And now it is narrowed down to the top big dogs, 5 or less. So right now we kind of are in the Wild Wild West where the entry level isn't so high. So if you're watching this, you can take advantage of the principles that you're speaking about.
But it's like... Yeah, and a year ago, it would have been easier to be, let's say, a guru than it is today, because the gurus are building staffs. So now, for you to compete with them, you got to enter into the field with a staff. At some point, it won't only be a staff; it'll be a company. And now, if you want to compete with them, you'll need a company behiund you.
The bar is raised.
Yeah, it just keeps raising. And so, the earlier you get serious about actually being serious about how you run your business, the higher your chance, the higher the probability, because entrepreneurship is really about not taking chances. It's about knowing what your probabilities are and just trying to stack as many odds in your favor as possible.
I'm going to ask a question kind of off topic here, hopefully not going to throw us too far off base, but I know you've reached tremendous success in many unrelated areas.
Right.
For instance, the hypnotherapy industry, you created tremendous success there. Your retail store, tremendous success there. Now internet marketing, tremendous success here. All different, separate, totally. You can't get much further than those different industries. Was it always easy sailing? Or I mean, here you are a strategist, and obviously you had a game plan in line, but the numbers look so, I mean, you came in at this level and it grew to 7 million. You came in at this level. Was it always easy sailing? I mean, there's hard work that goes into building results. I mean, can you help people understand that not everything you do is going to be 100% success? It takes testing, measuring, learning from the errors. Can you explain what's going on there?
Yeah, I mean, I think I worked extremely hard in all my businesses, even the ones that didn't make it.
Exactly, right. And we only see the ones that make it. The list of didn't make it don't make the list.
No, they don't make the list. I mean, there's a lot of things I'm not good at, right? And quite a few. You're gonna ask some partners.
I'll tell you more about those later. I'll tell you more. The inside scoop.
But so and that's even when I online, since this is gonna be, I guess, primarily people who have some kind of online thing. I mean, I know how to make money, right? And I've always known how to make money, even from when I was a little kid. And so, even when I got online, I made money. And I'm probably for a lot of people more than what they would be happy with. And I was happy with the money I made, but I wasn't making the kind of money I was used to, and I wasn't really building a business. And and I tried lots of different things. And Stephen Pierce is a good friend of mine and a partner, on a bunch of projects. And he's besides everything else he does, he's also a whiz at the search engines. And I would try and do stuff with him, and I would be wasting 5 hours trying to do something that took him 10 minutes because I kept making a mistake in the code or something like that. And it's that's
wasn't your strength.
It's not
that was
my
more of a weakness.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that's the thing. I mean, people have to really understand this is a big thing. When I work with clients, what I help them do is I help them realize who they are, what they're good at, and how that all works. Because most people haven't come to in life in general, but especially on the internet, but I don't think it matters actually internet or not, just have never come to the point of realization that they're not going to change. They are who they are, right? And I mean, you can make small changes and stuff like that, but your personality is your personality at this point. And so better off saying, okay, this is who I am, and okay, how am I going to make this all work now? Right? As opposed to thinking I'm going to change this really big thing about me, and I'm going to change this really big thing about me, and then I'm going to be successful. It doesn't usually work that way. I think that's one of the reasons why I have such a good track record, because I don't try and change people. I'm okay, let's just kind of come to the conclusion that you're not going to change. And that always, like, people are like, well, but I'm going to do this. And I'm like, yeah, how's that worked in the past? Like, how long have you been talking about, like, doing this or doing that? And
so an honest, straightforward analysis, the pros and the cons.
Who you are.
Look yourself in the mirror of who you are, and
who
you're
you really are.
That's one of your keys to success. Recognizing your strengths and weaknesses and starting with that.
Right.
Not when I get this or when I do that. Here's the elements that I bring to the table now. How can I use these?
Yeah, and a plan that, like, talks about who you are now, where you are now, who you're competing with now, and where you want to go.
Right.
And yeah, you might change. Maybe you'll be one of the 1,000 people who does actually change, and then you can always readjust your plan, right? But better to plan like you're not going to change, and that you need to make something work with who you currently are, and because you'll just be, the likelihood of success is so much higher. Because most people don't change. That's just the bottom line.
Common human statement.
Yeah, we're like, we're all little evidence collectors, like just trying to reaffirm, like, our opinions about stuff. So, yeah, and I think that's somewhat of a unique approach, like in coaching. Like, I think that it's one of the, I think that's probably a very big reason why I think my program gets such good results, just because, like, I think for a lot of people, they've never really thought about not changing and just like, okay, I'm going to stay this person for a little while and, like, and figure out a way to actually make it work. Yeah.
And on that, one way that people watching this could learn more about how they can take what they have as their qualities, their pros and their cons, and make it work. They can learn more about you through your blog. And get a hold. The manifesto is still available.
Manifesto is still available. The missing chapter, the interviews, and a bunch of other stuff. Actually, I think we're supposed to be coming out with another document, like, in the next week or two.
Okay.
Yeah. It's going to be on execution and how to get stuff done.
Awesome.
So there's always great stuff on the blog. It's strategicprofits.com, and you can opt in there too, I think, and then you'll be on our list. And every time I make a blog post, I usually send out an email just saying, like, hey, check it out, let me know what you think, kind of thing.
And that, trust me, first of all, just the fact that these are free is a great gift to this internet marketing community. I appreciate you doing that.
My pleasure.
And if you haven't subscribed yet, go do it right now, because as you've seen, Rich is just a wealth of knowledge, and you'll see some of the case studies of people who have applied the strategies that he's discussing. And I look forward to hopefully introducing you to Rich, where you can be one of his case studies and taking your business from where it is to where you want it to be. So, any final words to wrap this up, Rich? Or
no, I think we covered it.
Awesome.
I've never done an interview in a hotel lobby before.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's working out great.
I was waiting for someone to, like, jump over and say, hey guys,
do a
what's
cameo,
happening?
right? Peek their head in. Well, thank you very much, Rich.